Anyway, let's crack on. So yeah, hello and welcome back to another episode of the LET Golf Podcast. George Cooper here with Nicola Kenton. It's the week of the Scandi Mixed, and we're joined by current Rookie of the Year leader, now a one-time LET winner and chasing Olympics, majors, all sorts on the horizon. Chiara Tamburlini from Switzerland. Chiara, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm well, and yourself?
Yeah, we're good. I'm kind of getting a bit of FOMO that I'm not over in Sweden with you guys. Scandi Mixed is like a really amazing event, obviously joining with the men on the DP World Tour. So, yeah, how's it all been going? I mean, like I said, what a start to the season you've had. One win, leading the Rookie of the Year race. I think fourth in the order of merit now. How are you loving life on the LET?
No, I mean it's been amazing, obviously, and I mean I want to say that like it's great, like independent of the results, really. Like I'm just like loving the journey as well, and obviously like with some of the results being really really good the last couple of weeks, it's just making it a lot more fun naturally. But no, I think it's like from honestly transition from LET access. I feel like for me has been quite smooth. I mean, yeah, you add the travels, but other than that, it's fairly similar, and I'm quite positively surprised as well, to be honest, how nice everybody is on tour, like from staff to players. Like just it does feel a little bit like a family. I feel like I expected it to maybe be a bit more like competition or so, which like obviously everybody still wants to win, but like I also find everybody very friendly, and I feel like yeah, it's a quite familiar atmosphere, which is very enjoyable for me.
Yeah, it's good to hear. We hear that a lot, which is always nice. I mean, I was going to ask, like, who have you sort of? I see you hanging around with Pauline Rousson a lot, Emma Spitz, but like, who are your friends on tour, and who's maybe taking you under their wing as a rookie?
I mean, obviously, I'm very close with Elena most months since we're traveling together with the same coach, and it's all just worked out really well for us to travel together. Yeah, like I've been talking to Pauline a bit more and to Emma. I mean, I've obviously known them since we're probably 14 years old, but now that we're kind of on the same tour, we're getting closer again. I would say Marta Martin has kind of taken me a bit under her wing as well. She's been super nice. I obviously met her last year on LET Access. And she's been super nice to me this year as well. I feel like I can always ask her questions as well, which is great. Um, yeah, and so many girls, honestly, that I had met in college, that I had met before going to college, even. I mean, it's so many, I can't even list them all.
Yeah, nice. I mean, we'll come on to I think Access Series and college shortly, but just obviously, like I said, one win, you're flying in the order of merit. I mean, what's been you think like the big, I guess the secret, but like, what do you think's helped you the most? Like, because you've obviously hit the ground running on tour.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question. I feel like I should know the answer to this and be able to replicate it and keep doing it. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's also a lot of the work that I've been putting in over the years. I mean, you don't just happen to play well out of the blue for a period of time. So I feel like it's just kind of what I've been building with my team at home as well over the last couple of years, and now I'm just kind of. I feel like I'm just learning every week as well. Like as I go. I mean, Kenya was like I went there. I'm like, oh my god, like it would be great if I made the cut this week. And then obviously I finished third and got to Saudi, and then it was all kind of like honestly too fast at that point in time. And then like for the next event that I did well, I kind of had already learned that I need to like make sure I slow it down a bit, and I like make sure I don't lose myself in it a little bit. So I feel like that's for example a learning that I had. That just helps my golf game as well. Because I mean, if I know I'm mentally in a good space outside of golf, I know I can perform well. And I mean, I'm someone who gets stressed easily and gets worried about stuff a lot. And so when I can sort all those things out, which has been difficult to be honest, I know I can perform well and just yeah, be myself on the golf course.
Yeah, you got that win in Joburg. I was there. It was a dominant victory in the end. I mean, firstly, what is it like to win? Try and explain all those emotions and what's it been like since you've won? I know we've chatted before, all the extra media obligations you're now doing. You're joining us now on the podcast, but like, what's it like to win?
Oh, I mean, it's just like it's so hard to put it into emotions, and sometimes like when I see the pictures as well, I still think back obviously, and I'm like dang, this is so crazy that it actually happened. And then, like, somehow the moment goes by so fast, too, though. So you're like, oh my god, I want to experience it again. Because it's just like all the good emotions you could think of. It's like just pure happiness and joy it's just such a satisfaction, really, to be able to stand there with a trophy in your hands. No, it's just incredible, really.
Absolutely. We'll jump back to kind of when you started in golf. So I know that you were 8 years old, and it was you and your sister who
Yeah.
started playing together. So just talk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, me and my sister, who's 2 years younger than me, we started playing together. I mean, my parents played, but like they still do, just very much for a hobby, as a hobby. And my sister and myself, we kind of just got caught up in it early. I would say, yeah, both of us just loved it from the beginning, and we ended up just practicing together. We always had each other. We always did other sports too, both of us. And then, yeah, it was probably like when I was like 12 or 13 where I realized that maybe I'm decent at this and I want to like take it a bit more serious than I would have like tennis, for example. Um, that's kind of when I decided to go to Ticino, the Italian part of Switzerland, to go to high school and be able to do like the sports high school, which helped me to just put more time and effort into golf while still getting my high school degree.
So what, if you mentioned tennis there, what other sports did you used to do when you were younger?
Um, Tennis, soccer, and I ski. I still kind of do ski, but it's getting a bit more complicated now because I'm like, I really don't want to get injured, but I also really want to do it. And then I played the flute as well, which no one would really believe me that because I'm not very musical talented at all. I'm not sure why I did that, but that was just one of those things that I did for a couple of years, and I think it's for the best that I'm not doing it anymore.
Everyone loves musical instrument. Yeah, it's
I mean, I
fine.
feel like one of those things that you do. And my sister played
Yeah.
guitar, so she was a bit cooler than me. But I just played my flute and then stopped at one point.
And as you said, you decided to go to high school kind of on the Italian side of Switzerland. Yeah, what was that like being able to do sport as part of your studies while still getting your qualifications that you needed?
Yeah, I mean that was such a cool experience. I mean, I was 14 and I was like, yeah, I'm old enough to move out. Like, surely that's normal. And then now looking back, I'm like, dang, 14 was actually quite young to move out. And my parents always thought this was kind of a crazy idea, and I was always very convinced that that was a great idea. Which I mean, in the end, I gotta say, it was a great experience for me, and I mean, I definitely learned a lot. I mean, yeah, as I said, moving away from home when you're 14, it's just like you get so much more independent early on. And I mean, I had some of my best friends from golf there in the boarding school that we lived together. I learned a new language because school was in Italian, which I didn't speak prior to going to school there. And then obviously with golf as well, like it just allowed me to go to the tournaments and miss school, and the teachers were more understanding, and they allowed me to also just practice more. Basically, I mean, we would be done with school at like 3 or something like that, and just have time to practice afterwards a bit more. And I feel like that's where, and the coach that I had there as well, Carlos Duran, he really started to shape me a bit into a more professional golf player. Even though I didn't have any ambitions whatsoever to turn professional at that point in time. But that's kind of where it all gets started shaping itself a little bit with the national team, with playing international tournaments and all that stuff. Yeah.
I was going to say about the national team. Obviously, you represented Switzerland many times. What was it like when you first got in to the Switzerland camp and you were within that setup?
Oh, that was incredible. I think I was 13 and I got a call from Nora Angern telling me that I'm gonna play in the Belgium International Under 14 tournament. And I still remember where I was at that point because I was with a friend at their home, and I was in disbelief that I was going to be able to play in an international tournament, fly to a golf tournament. And yeah, ever since I've obviously represented Switzerland with a lot of pride as well. I mean, they've been amazing to me, Swiss golf and the country itself. Like I really like standing for the country and playing under the Swiss flag.
We spoke last week about it, but obviously Swiss golf is having its moment at the minute. There's a
Yeah.
lot of you doing well on the LET, and as you said, on the men's side as well. Just what's that like being a part of that? And obviously, you said all the hard work that's been put in over the past few years is kind of paying off.
Yeah, I feel like it just like obviously first it's also a bit of a momentum thing. Like if you see people doing well around you, like it's encouraging. Um, but at the same time, like I don't know, there's so many people in Swiss golf that like have been on this journey really as well since I started. Like there's there's a couple of coaches that are still there that have been there 10 years ago. And I mean, they have been through ups and downs, and there's been a couple of changes in the federation ever since I started as well. We went from national team to no national team to regional team to back to national team, and now in the Swiss golf team. So it's been like a couple of changes, but I feel like it's really just also nice for everybody behind the scenes a bit to kind of see the players performing. You know, I guess it's always more motivating and getting some more positive feedback, and like people are starting to look, I feel like, and be like, oh wow, what are they doing? Like they're doing a good job actually, and they're kind of putting themselves and their players out there, and I think that's super cool, and just huge compliment to everybody really at Swiss golf. They're like, yeah.
Absolutely. And then one final one from me before I'll hand back to George. Obviously playing all the different sports growing up, who was your sporting hero? Because I imagine that you kind of maybe had a few from across different sports.
Yeah, that was Roger Federer. I would say he still is to this day. Tough to beat. Lara Gut is the Swiss skier, obviously, and then I would say now, like this is more recently, Marco Odermatt has kind of joined that list as well. Another skier from Switzerland. They're just like, or all three, but I mean mainly I gotta say Roger Federer. Just such a humble person. I feel like if I could be even just a tiny little bit like him in any aspect, really, I would say I've done well in my life. So that's really something I'm kind of aspiring. Just like his way of being humble, but still such an incredible athlete, and it feels like he takes time for everybody, but somehow clearly still manages himself really well, which is obviously a big part as well. Yeah, he just seems like he's the full package.
Have you met him?
No, I've not. My parents have once seen him, but didn't dare approach him for a picture.
Oh, I thought your mum might have tried to get a photo.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, why did you not do this? Because it was like in a hotel, and he was in the spa with his kids, and so I guess it was also nice of my parents not to ask him, because that will probably be one of those moments where he's like, oh gosh, another one.
Yeah. Well, hopefully one day, yeah.
Guess
And just going back then, I'm intrigued. Obviously, you and your sister growing up, both golfers. How competitive was that? Like, because I know, like on the course, you are obviously competitive.
yeah.
And sometimes you get a little bit angry or not. But like, how was it with your sister? I feel like there was some good battles maybe back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I have another sister too, so it's really three of us. She's just a bit younger.
Okay.
But yeah, the middle sister is really the one I've played with most growing up. And I mean, to be honest, so many people have asked that question in the past, and like, we never really competed. I don't know why we didn't play matches against each other. I guess we knew it was gonna escalate anyways. It's probably because one of us was gonna be mad. But we just more like practiced together, to be honest, and like kept our own scores when we played. Like we really did match plays. Like we would do like some putting competitions and chipping competitions, like the basic stuff. But we never like competed that much, and it was always also like, I mean, technically she was actually better than me because she was younger, but like obviously she was a bit worse than me, but she was also 2 years younger. So in the spectrum, she was technically ahead of me. So yeah, we were on a bit different level, but like it was also with her just being 2 years younger. It was, yeah, that's how it was supposed to be, really.
Yeah, nice. And then you went across the pond to play at Ole Miss.
That's right.
Firstly, how did you end up there?
That's
Yeah, we always had to ask it because people obviously go for like visits, don't they? Or they get approached, or like, I'm just intrigued, why there?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I technically, when I was in high school and that kind of time came on whether I wanted to go to America or not, I was like, initially I was like, yeah, I want to go, and then I was like, you know what? I don't really want to go. I want to go and study in St. Gallen in my hometown, like most of my friends are doing. I want to have a normal life. I'm done with just juggling my lives around back and forth all the time. Feeling like I have my normal life and I have my golf life, and it was just seemed like a complicated thing. But then thinking about that a bit more, I was like, well, actually, I'm not really ready to give up golf either. So then I decided to go to America, and then at that point, I still had a couple of. It was getting a bit later, and I still had a couple of options, and I visited San Diego State and Ole Miss. I knew a girl at San Diego State, and I really loved it. I mean, San Diego is amazing, amazing city. Like, I mean, it's so cool there. And then I went to Ole Miss, and like, I don't know, like, I don't think my mom came with me on the visit, and she did not expect me to pick Ole Miss. I mean, they didn't say anything whether what they wanted me to do, but like, there was just something about Ole Miss. Like the second I stepped foot there, I just knew I had to go there. And like at that point the program was not quite as strong as it had, as like San Diego State, for example, had been. But like with Coach Corey Henkes, I had such a good feeling. They had just been building a new short game facility, and like all the girls were just so fun, and it felt like it was this kind of little college town, which just seemed so cool. And yeah, I'm really, really, really glad I decided the way I did.
And best and worst thing about being over there then? Come on.
Oh, I mean, best thing is winning the national championship. Tough to beat. And worst thing, I want to say, I guess being far away from home, which really didn't bother me that much because I made so many new friends over there. Not many bad things.
That's always good then. Now, some people say like the food maybe or the,
Well,
I
the
don't
food,
know.
but I started gaining weight pretty fast, and then it was like, okay,
Yeah,
now. And then I started liking it and like the big portions and the fast food. But yeah, I'm glad now I'm back to a bit more normal food, aka food that I'm more used to. But it wasn't too bad.
yeah. But you were telling me in Joburg how it sort of prepared you for tour life and then making that decision to, because you didn't, what did you do? 3 years there in the end?
4.
4 years.
4
4 years. So the decision to obviously then leave there and play on LETAS. So just tell us all about that process.
Yeah, I mean, I did, like, as I said earlier, like, I loved my time at Ole Miss, and I really wanted to take my 5th year, that we got with because of COVID. But I did kind of also at the same time feel like, because I was done with my bachelor degree, so I didn't want to do a master's yet. Excuse me. And then, basically I was, you know what, I think I'm done. Like, I feel like I'm ready to turn pro and to kind of take the next step. I felt like I had achieved a lot of things in college that I wanted to achieve. Like, I was first team All American, first team All SEC scholar, Palmer Cup, NWA, national championship. Like, I felt like was able to tick a lot of the boxes and just, kind of be ready to move on. And then LETAS was a bit of a bumpy start at first, to be honest. When I was an amateur, and then once I turned pro, I felt like once I turned pro, that was like where I belonged, and it was like full. Not saying that it wasn't full commitment before, but before I turned pro, I was still like an amateur playing European teams and kind of juggling around both worlds. And then once the decision was made to turn pro, it was like that's what it was gonna be. And I think that was a really good shift in my mindset too, and just be really focused on the Axis, and obviously do pretty well there too.
Yeah, 2 wins over on the Access Series. The big one being the Rose Ladies Open.
Yeah.
It's obviously high profile with Justin Rose's tournament. So just talk to us about that week. Elena came, was she runner
Second
up that
that
week? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
we both shot 7 under in the final round.
wow.
No, that was quite crazy. And I mean, to be honest, I was very starstruck by meeting Justin Rose and his wife. And they invited me for dinner after the tournament as well. So I had dinner with them and a couple other of their friends, and that was that felt pretty cool, to be honest. But yeah, obviously that tournament kind of, I would say, put me on the radar a bit and really kind of started solidifying my spot in the top 6 of the order of merit as well. So that was a big move, and I just that's kind of when I really felt like I had arrived on the LET Access and I did belong there and I was there to compete after the second win. So, I mean, super special week. And I was staying with the family of one of my friends from college. So that was super cool too, to just, have familiar faces around me as well. And yeah.
Yeah, nice. And just again, then how do you think that's prepared you for life in the LEC now? We have so many people on this podcast that talk about it being like almost the perfect transition. So how did it really help you?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's a really good transition because there is definitely some differences still from my way where I came now, like with college. When you go from college to LET Access, and like LET Access to LET, I feel like it's pretty much the same thing. Everything is just a little bit bigger. Like the courses are a little bit longer, and maybe the greens are a little bit faster. You travel a little bit further. There's a few more competitors. There's probably a couple more, a few better competitors. So it's just kind of like it makes it a less big of a step, basically. I think. And honestly, the fact that you are a professional and you are traveling by yourself is also a big step, and you kind of do that on the LET Access, and then the transition to LET with that is pretty small, really. And yeah, and just kind of being on your own and like it kind of really mattering, like obviously in amateur golf, I'm not saying it doesn't matter because I was heartbroken every time I played bad and I was really happy every time I played well. Like it still meant the same thing, but like at the same time, once it's your job, it's just the next level. And I feel like on whether you're on LET Access or LET, it's your job either way. And so that's kind of the step that you're taking early on as well.
And obviously, there were the 6 of you who got your cars last year, who've been playing on the LET this year. What's it like having that group of 6 of you? I know you took some great photos in Tampa at the draft of the 6 of you. So yeah, what's that like? Obviously, developing those friendships before and then coming up together.
Really cool. I mean, obviously, I've been close with Elena beforehand, and like for her and I to both make it was pretty cool. And then with Sophie mainly as well. To be honest, I mean, I've known Sophie probably since I'm 14 or 15 as well. And we've traveled. Elena and myself have traveled with her to a couple of events as well. Already, and it does feel like, especially the last couple of events on LETAS, when it was getting a bit more, I want to say, clear and obvious that maybe Sophie, Elena, and myself were gonna make it. We were always paired up together. We spent so much time together. You could start talking about like next year in LET, maybe a bit more openly in that small little group, just because it was starting to solidify itself a little bit. So that definitely created a bit of a bond. And now it's like, I mean, I would say Sophie is definitely. I forgot to mention her earlier, but she's definitely one of the people that I'm closest with too. On tour, and I guess it's just that kind of connection that you get from there, and like it was a lot of honest conversations with her as well over the last couple of months, even on LETAS already. And I think that's just really meaningful.
Absolutely. And obviously when the LET schedule got announced and then you could obviously start planning, what was that like looking through the schedule at the start of the year, obviously with LETAS being in Europe and then LET straight to Kenya?
It was pretty crazy. And I gotta say, so many people ask me, well, why is it called the Ladies European Tour? And I'm there and I'm like, yeah, well, actually, that's a great question. I guess the base is in Europe. But no, I thought that was pretty crazy. And I do gotta say, there was a lot of situations where I was quite overwhelmed. Like Kenya, obviously, do have a lot of time to prepare for, but then, like, with me being able to go to Saudi, which was obviously amazing, and then needing to change all my travel arrangements for only the second tournament, which was supposed to be Morocco, that I had made in the past. So that was all thrown over and had to be redone. And that was kind of like a moment where I was like, oh God, this is a bit more complicated now. And that was obviously fun that I had the opportunity, but quite stressful as well at the same time. And that's definitely been a bit of an adjustment. And I do gotta say, like, now I'm starting to be better again, but like I was glad I took the week of Germany off right after Korea, because I just like felt it, like I just could not handle it anymore. I was just done. And I know a lot of other girls played Germany. I have so much respect for people that went to Korea and played everything before Korea and then played straight in Germany. Like, yeah, that's still something I need to work on, but I'm glad I was able to take that little break and kind of reset before the European stretch, because I did underestimate how much more exhausting it is on your body to travel that far, because everybody's like, well, like you need to make sure you manage your energy and blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be fine. I have a lot of energy usually, but like now I'm like, okay, actually I don't have that much energy. And
Are you a good sleeper on a plane? I feel like that's...
no, I'm not.
No.
And I'm also someone who's like, I don't sleep well when I know that I still have stuff to do, and then like I'm up at night thinking about it, and like I'm not a great sleeper anyways, because I also think sleeping is kind of boring. Help. um, I mean, it's nice to sleep, but at the same time, like, oh, I would rather do something else than actually do something. But I've learned that that's not really the way to go about it.
So
I
when
like that. That's your Italian education, though.
Yeah.
Sleeping's boring.
Yeah.
So what do you do on a plane then? Like, what's your go-to? Do you read a book? Do you watch series?
Oh, I want to be that person that reads books. I really want to, but I'm just not. I just end up watching Netflix. And I've watched, actually, now I've watched, got into the sports series. Like, I watched Drive to Survive, obviously Full Swing. And I watched Breakpoint now. And someone just told me last week, like, oh, you have to watch the one from the Tour de France.
Tour de France, yes.
Because apparently that one's really good too. So I might start watching that one too. And then, yeah, what else? I watched something else. I don't remember. But yeah, so I just watched some series really and just wait for time to pass. It was all alright. I do gotta say the worst trip was going from Sydney to Cape Town. That was just long. Because it was like 14 and a half hours and then 10 and a half hours. And that was just like, rough.
Then you won.
And then I won. I know, maybe I need longer travels before I play and be more exhausted. My fitness coach did tell me, he's like, because I think like 4 or 5 days prior to Joburg, I was actually a little sick. I'm usually sick a lot. And I had like on my whoop, because my coach has access to my whoop, and it was like all red recoveries for like 4 or 5 days in a row. And then I go ahead and win the tournament. And he's like, well, I guess that's what you need. And then 2 weeks ago in Ivial, when I finished second, the same thing happened like 4 days prior to the event. I had only red recoveries, and then I finished second. And then he texted me again, like, I'm not sure if this is really a way to go about it, but maybe we need to figure out how to get your red recoveries before a tournament, and then you can go perform well. So, yeah, maybe that's a new strategy.
This week might be alright then. After
Yeah, I'm currently on antibiotics, so maybe maybe I'm setting myself up for a good week. Who knows?
Yeah. But you just touched on some of the events you've played in already. Looking ahead, I guess, to the rest of the season, what events are you like really excited for? I know you've obviously got a home event, Swiss Open, majors on the cards. So what are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned them, really. I mean, home event's definitely going to be cool. You know, a crazy thing, I've never played that golf course. It's only an hour from where I live. I've never played it, so I don't really know what to expect, but I just feel like it's going to be cool, and I do think a lot of people are probably going to come and watch. And then, yeah, it's definitely the majors. I mean, Evian is obviously not set in stone yet if I'm going to be able to play, but it's looking good right now, and I love the place, and I knew the place before 2 weeks ago as well. We were there with the national team before, and I actually played their tournament when I was like 14 and stuff like that. So yeah, that's definitely one. And then yeah, St. Andrews, that's gonna be pretty cool as well. I think I've never been there either. And I'm happy that I have the Scottish leading up to the event in St. Andrews to get a little repetition on links golf, because I feel like with me going to college, like I've kind of gotten out of the groove a bit of playing links golf. And this week, I mean, not that last week was very linksy, but I mean, it had a linksy touch to it here in Helsingborg, and it did not go too well. So I'm happy that I have a week of prep time up in Scotland before playing in St. Andrews.
Yeah, nice. And I got to ask, because I know you drove to Evian a couple of weeks ago. I
Yeah.
hear you had like a picture of your face in the car or something. What's this?
Had so many people ask me about it, and people critiqued my parking too. In India last week, but yeah, no, I have a local garage, city garage in St. Gallen in my hometown. They're sponsoring me with this car, and they wanted to have like a bit of a design that yeah stood out a bit, and so apparently it's not an actual picture of me, but the lady was super sweet, and she went online and searched for like golf pictures or golf graphics basically, and found one, and then like she adjusted the hair, did like blonde curls, and then she saw on my Instagram that one of my posts I was wearing at Augusta National, I was wearing like a pink sweater, so that's why she made my sweater pink. So it was like inspired by me, but not actually exactly me on my car. But yeah, it has my name on it, and I love it. I haven't been able to drive it too much because I'm everywhere but home. So yeah, that was pretty cool to go there with my car.
Just have a graphic of yours inspired by you everywhere you go. You should put it on everything.
I do gotta say, I'm wondering, I'm like, oh, so much pressure now. I can't do stuff wrong on the road. Like, I can't flick people off or get annoyed or like drive recklessly because it says my name on it. So yeah, I'm careful with that.
You're known by everyone. This year, obviously, we've already spoken about your sister and your mum, but they've also been on the bag. You've had people come out to tournaments and caddy for you. You've had your friends caddy for you as well. What's that been like, having people that you know? And obviously, we spoke last week, just it takes your mind off golf when you've got someone and you can just talk about something else.
Yeah, I've really liked that. I mean, obviously, I don't have that much experience yet when it comes to caddies, and I've tried some professional caddies, and it was like, I can't say that they did anything wrong or so, but I do have to say that as of right now, I'm just preferring having people that I know well on a personal level on the bag, and yeah, I guess that's probably a process that I'm in right now as well, because I understand that like long term it would probably be the goal to have a professional caddy on the bag, and have someone that you really work well with. And but that's also just a process of finding a person like that. It's you won't know until you try. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, I don't know that I want to try right now, because like with maybe Olympics on the line or something like that, I don't really want to try out too many things. But no, I've really liked like having my mom on the back in Evian, and my best friend caddied last week, which I mean, even though the results were not great, it was super fun. My sister caddied in Tampa. So yeah, no, I really love it. I feel like I can really just be myself a bit more, which yeah, helps my performance.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the Olympics there, and obviously, again, we spoke about it last week, but
Yeah.
you don't fully know that that's on the cards, but it's something that would be great. And as you said, at the start of the year, you weren't thinking about at all.
No,
And now suddenly you're in a position where it's a possibility.
yeah, I mean, super cool. That I feel like I'm kind of needing to like have more, like, just make sure my expectations are still real. Also just to be fair to myself, because I feel like it wouldn't be fair if I'm disappointed now if I don't make it to the Olympics. Because yes, while now it has become a goal, it was a goal that I didn't even really dream of beginning of this year. So I feel like that's always important to kind of like keep that point of view and like understand where I came from in January and where I'm standing now, and just still be grateful for all the things I've been able to achieve so far. And of course, I want to be able to make it to the Olympics, because I mean, who doesn't? But at the same time, it's just I realized last week as well, having a bad week in Helsingborg, I was like, you know what? It really doesn't matter that much. Like, I can't be worrying about it. I can't be stressing about it. I can't be trying to force it, because that's just not going to go. So now for next week, honestly, my goal is just to not think about it too much. Like, maybe use it as a bit of a motivation, but like, I mean, I want to play well either way, whether it's about the Olympics or not. I'm not going to be able to do better if I tell myself, oh, you need to make this putt, because if not, you might not be able to go to the Olympics. Like, that's not going to do me any good. And I feel like with a lot of like the media that I've been having the last couple of weeks and month as well, a lot of the Olympic question has been arising, which is obviously super cool to be able to even dream about it now and it just be a real opportunity. But at the same point, I feel like I got a bit too carried away and kind of stepped ahead of myself a little bit. I mean, in the end, what matters is that I can play well next week, and then see where that brings me, and ends me in the world ranking.
Absolutely. And one final one from me before we move on to something else, a bit more fun. Uh, is
It's all
obviously
fun.
you
What do you mean?
is we're talking about as you said, managing your expectations and changing your goals. Obviously, as a rookie, you have goals at the start of the year, and then they change. Apologies if you could hear the wind. Apparently, it's a bit windy at basketball. Um, changing your expectations, and that you've been working on the mental side of your game. Just what's that like as a process, going through that and kind of readjusting your goals, and as you say, rewarding yourself for your second place finishes and when you've done well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's been a bit of an up and down, to be honest. I mean, for example, I finished third in Kenya and I missed the next two cuts, and it was like, okay, wait. So at Kenya, I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I belong here. Then I'm like, okay, I just missed two cuts, maybe I don't. So it's been a bit of an up and down, but no, the expectations are definitely the last couple of weeks, like now after Ibia as well, have definitely gotten a lot higher, and I think that's just also a bit dangerous. And I kind of have to be honest with myself and just be like, you just can never take anything for granted. I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll never finish second again ever in an LET tournament. Who knows? It could happen technically. Um, and so I think that's just really important for me to just be super, super thankful and grateful for this even smaller victories. I mean, second is a pretty big victory, even though you're the first one who didn't win. But like, I was talking to my coach about this a lot as well, and he was like, he told me in Evian, when I was a bit down beginning of the week, because I was sick, I was tired, and I was just kind of fed up with everything. And he's like, you know what? Just keep pouring the glass. Just like everything that happens, like even if you hit a good drive that on the driving range, it's like just keep pouring the glass and keep rewarding yourself and keep, just tapping yourself on the shoulder and be like, hey, you did this well. And I feel like that's kind of something I really want to build on more about on the next couple weeks as well. because I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand with managing your expectations, because it kind of takes my brain away from my actual result. But like if I do what I know I can do, I know I can play good tournaments, and but for that I kind of need to be nicer to myself as well sometimes, and not always be so hard on myself, and just give myself a little more slack and credit when I do good stuff.
Yeah, you're definitely in a good mood in Jabra, so I think it worked, right?
I was in a really good mood. It's also tough, honestly. I mean, with those views.
Oh yeah,
it's incredible, isn't it?
Honestly my favorite place to go, I think, on tour. It's like amazing.
Go back and play major, that would be so freaking cool.
Yeah, it's like a different place there as well for the major. So, but Jabra is great as well. So
yeah,
super cool. And off the course, have you got any goals? Like, I feel like we're always asking about goals for golf, but anything you want to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, my boyfriend and I are kind of looking into maybe moving in together, or trying to figure out what we're gonna do. I mean, he's in Finland, just finishing up the military now, and I'm actually gonna see him on Friday for the first time in 6 months, so that's exciting. So I guess it's kind of just trying to figure out how we're gonna move on from here. I mean, we've been dating for 4 or 5 years now, and that's kind of my goal, to just kind of figure out where we're going and kind of trying to maybe sort out our future a bit together. But yeah, at the same time, I also just want to try and stay true to myself. It's easy to just be consumed by golf and just be like Chiara the golfer, but I feel like for me, and I know most people, well, most players can probably agree with that, it's so important to just also be Chiara the person, who is not only Chiara the golfer. Because it's draining to always talk about golf, and just even when you do great, then everybody's like, "Oh, congrats, congrats, congrats!" Like it's obviously really cool, but like sometimes you just don't even want to hear any of it. And I feel like I want to be able to kind of stay true to myself in that regard, and just make sure that I balance Chiara the golfer and Chiara the person really well over the next couple of weeks as well, especially when there's going to be lots of happenings on the golf course.
Yeah, nice. Nicola, should we finish with the game, or have you got any rapid fire questions for Chiara? No.
We could do a couple of rapid fire and then we'll do the game.
Let's go with that, because she just said that she doesn't want to talk about golf anymore. So
golf's the last game. We'll do the other game first. So these are just your rapid fire favorite things. So what is your favorite TV series?
Friends.
Your favorite movie?
Oh my God, I don't have a favorite movie.
Or genre?
It's a cop out. Come on.
Genre of movie.
I'll go with a romance. I like to cry.
A good crier film. Good.
Yeah.
Your favorite restaurant or type of food?
Pizza.
Topping? What would you have?
Burrata and prosciutto and arugula and some Parmesan sprinkles.
Yes, very nice. And having gone to an Italian high school, is pineapple a no-no in pizza? Is that banned?
I gotta say, I've never actually ordered it. In the States, some of my friends have, and then I'd like try a piece. I'm like, oh, pretty good, but like I wouldn't order it. No.
Would you go on a beach holiday or a mountain holiday?
Beach.
Because you're quite close to the mountains, I kind of guess.
Yeah. I guess the beach is a bit more special.
Yeah, exactly. What other ones do we have? Oh, what's your favorite artist or music?
Oh, I don't know. I'll go with Ed Sheeran.
Okay. Will we hear you listening to that on the range? Are you someone who uses music around golf?
No hype song.
I know. I usually just listen to pre-made Spotify playlists and then I skip the songs that I don't like, but then I end up not even knowing who's the actual artist or what the title of the song is.
Just listen to random songs instead.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, good vibes in Spotify, and then I'll see if I like them or not.
I was going to ask you what your favourite book is, but you said you don't really read.
I couldn't
So,
tell.
yeah, no books. That's fine. Yeah. And favourite country you visited this year?
Australia.
Okay, now we can go back to golf, George.
Yes.
Thanks
I
for
was Don't know what to say when it's not golf. No, clear. Right then, we'll end it on our new segment, which is called Perfect Player, Chiara. So what I'm going to do is list a series of like factors, and I want you to name like who you would want that attribute from, but it has to be an LET member. So maybe think Solheim Cup, think players you played with, think playing partners. So I'm going to list a bunch of attributes, and I want you to just name a player, the first player that comes to mind. All right? Yeah, ideally. I mean, we haven't got all day.
Okay.
Who it took ages. There's been a few that have
Yeah.
really strategically
Thought
done this
about
game.
it.
But just try and first sort of name that comes to mind, and we'll make Chiara Tamburlini's perfect player. Okay, so we'll start off with the fun one, which is driving. So if you could take anyone's driving ability, who would it be?
And Van Damme. Never played with her. Pretty good.
Yeah, nice. Okay, iron play.
Sophie.
Vit.
No, Kipsgard.
Pipscott.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Both good ball strikers.
Yeah.
Nice. Short game.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'll go with Martin.
Putting.
Yeah, see, I would go with Martin too. Her putting and short game is really good.
Okay, you can go both. Yeah, it's fine. She'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
And final one then is mindset or like golfing brain.
Pauline.
Okay, yeah.
For energy.
Yes. Yes, I think we'd all like to have as much fun as Pauline on the golf course.
Exactly. I mean, it's just I'm gonna stay with her again in a row, but I'm just already excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way she marks her golf balls as well, like always.
It's pretty cool. I was
So
watching
cool.
her in Australia, and I'm like, this cannot be true. How are you doing this? I mean, and she's fast with it too. I mean, it takes her a while, but like, I mean, if I attempted to even remotely do something that's a little similar, it would take me hours, and it would not even like get any.
No, I'd just be worried about losing it on the first tee.
I know. And then we hit an iron shot, and you go to the bunker, and it's all destroyed afterwards. I mean, I
Yeah.
try my little heart and something like, oh no, I destroyed it. But it takes about 2 seconds to do it again.
Yeah, nice. Well, that was a good player then. I think that's all of them, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So solid.
Nice.
Yeah, no self-nominations. You can pick yourself. Some players have picked themselves, but
No.
no.
I don't really see myself as being the best at anything. That's not really how I think of myself.
Good stuff. Well, on that note, we will let you go because obviously big week at Scandi Mix. I mean, you must be excited, obviously teeing up alongside the event this week. How cool is that?
I feel like, you know what? I feel like I want to... This might sound weird, but like, it's always a bit more motivating to beat guys. Because, I don't know, somehow just like, yeah, just feels good to beat a guy.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for that. And hopefully I'm going to be able to beat a couple of guys.
Absolutely. I'm sure you will. And obviously get well soon. I know you're not quite 100% yet, but...
Thank you, yeah, for that as well.
Absolutely. I'll be watching from home. Nicola will be there. And yeah, so Chiara, thanks for joining us. Again, well done on such a great start to the season.
You?
Fingers crossed for the rest of the season. I'm sure you're going to hit those goals, no problem. And yeah, good luck this week. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. See you soon. Bye-bye.